Well, just finished up. I didn't finish up anything. Finished up this afternoon. It was so hot this morning, and I was pretty stressed out. You know, we had Lawmaker was qualified in 55 and 4, 55 and 2 today. He wasn't great, but you know, the one thing about Lawmaker is he's gone through a lot in the last month. For those of you that don't know, I'm sure most of you do, he got cast a little bit in the stall, and we had him ready to go a month ago. Just time wasn't on our side. He got cast in the stall, and his left front leg blew up, which wasn't a big deal. We had it ultrasounded immediately, as you can imagine. There was nothing wrong with it other than it was a hematoma, a bruise. He bruised himself. But as we were treating that left front leg and being very quiet with him, what we didn't realize was he had also injured his muscle up in his left hind. Now, not in a way that you would see going slow. So as the vet said, give him a week of light jogging, keep him in a stall, and we're working very hard to get that heat out of his left front leg and that leg under control. We weren't doing anything for his back because we couldn't tell there was anything bothering him. Mild stiffness, but what you would attribute with a horse in getting cast in a stall. Now, getting cast in their stall means they get stuck. So at some point during the night, he got stuck. And I'd say he was stuck for quite a while, for a little while anyway. Water bucket was ripped off the wall. There was water everywhere. The stall was messed up. His left front leg was big, and he had injured himself left hind up high. No extreme injuries to speak of, but a lot of stiffness and soreness. So when we got his left front leg under control, it took about 6 days. When we got his left front leg under control, I put James down to qualify him as we planned to, and he ran all over the track. He was hot. He wouldn't trot. So we took him up to the clinic again. They said, leg's pretty well healed. Maybe just give him another few days. Now we're extending the deadline. We wanted to go to Pennsylvania. We wanted to have him prepped for the good times. We wanted to do these things and couldn't do any of them. Missed both his first 2 stake races. And it was getting to the point where I really didn't know if we could even have him ready for the good times. And this is certainly not the scenario I was looking for or anybody would want. So I trained him on Thursday. He trained good. I took him back over to the clinic, got him checked, head to toe, nuts and bolts, perfectly fine. Now the only problem is with that deep, with those deep, I don't know what you call it, contusions, bruises. You never really know, right? There's only so much a machine can tell you about a living thing, and by all accounts, he was fine. We warmed him up. He warmed up good. Usually he gets a little warm at the gate anyway, and when we race him in a closed bridle with a set of earplugs that you can pull out, and a snake cord around his mouth sometimes, so you can just control him a little bit. Usually he's fine like that. A little warm this morning, and really, number one thing today was to get him around, and hope that we got a good mile into him. So I picked up the sheet when I got to the qualifiers, and I saw that Big Rich was in there. Open trotter, great, you know, because Lawmaker's not usually good on the front end, and he was the only horse in there. So I went to Louis Philippe before the qualifier and said, "Hey, you're gonna go a good mile with this horse?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, good." So we go out of there, and Dagfinn Hendrickson went out of there with I don't even know what horse it was. I'm watching Louis Philippe, and he's ducking Big Rich. I'm like, now I'm going to be on the front end with Lawmaker. And Lawmaker's won a race on the front. He's not as good on the front end. He's 80% of the horse he is off a helmet that he is on the front end. But I do need to go a good mile. So I whack it out because we have the open bridle on him, not the closed, not the earplugs, but we had a full hood with earplugs, stay-in earplugs in his ears, and a hood. Now he's quiet. He's really docile. So I go to the quarter in 29 and 3. I'm trying to go a mile in 54, 55. You know, when I hit the quarter in 29 and 3, that's pretty much out the window. You can only go so fast. So we go over the half, 58 flat. I'm saying 56 and a bit will be good. He trots a third quarter really good. I think he was a little unsure of himself also. That was the first fast mile he'd gone in 3 weeks. So around the last turn, I felt him start to swell up. Dagfinn's horse coasted out of the 2-hole, and you know, the race was on, so to speak. We went 126-2, which was 28-2 in the third. Yeah, I went 55-2. I thought I'd come back on and won the qualifier, but I got beat a nose, a head, whatever they called it. 55-2, last 3 quarters, 125-4. Really an impressive mile. If we had 2.5, 3 weeks to the good times, I'd be like, wow, you know, we're right on track. We don't. We have 11 days, I think. 10 days, 9 days, something like that. So I think this is an imperfect situation. It's not ideal. I don't think it'll hurt him, but what we're going to do is jog him about 4 days before the good times, probably the morning of the draw. We're going to train him a hard mile at Mohawk and see how he feels with his racing equipment on. So he'll have his closed bridle on, his head pole, Murphy blind, earplugs. We're going to train him a hard mile. I'd like to train him in 54 and 55, somewhere around there, but 4 or 5 days out, and see how he feels. If he feels good, then we're good to go for the good times. I would suspect after what I saw today, he'll feel good. I think what I felt today was a horse that was a little unsure of himself. He did go through something that I would say is mildly traumatic. I guess we were very lucky he didn't injure himself. His injuries, so to speak, have healed. He still has some knots all through his back that are pretty sore, but no worse for wear, so to speak. So some great news there. I guess I don't know if it's turning lemons into lemonade just yet, but it was some closure, I guess, on a pretty scary time for me, who owns a chunk of Lawmaker, a significant chunk, and the other clients. It was day to day for a week. What was going to happen? Is he going to recover? How's he going to be? Well, I mean, a horse that hasn't gone a fast mile in 3 weeks and then comes out and trots him 55-2 last 3 quarters, 125-4, you'd say he's on the right track. So happy with what I saw today from Lawmaker. Excited to have him back going. Now, the other exciting part of today was that we had 3 babies to qualify and 5 babies to school. So, not an angel. Probably as impressive as you could ask a 2-year-old to look today. On the left line quite a bit. I think we just got to change some gear. I had the vet go over. He couldn't find anything, and there was nothing optically that I could say it was there. It was there. And they're on the left line hard. You would think it was left front or left hind or both. I couldn't see anything, so had the vet go over. He couldn't see anything. I think we'll just change her gear. She wears nothing but an open bridle and a snake cord in her mouth. She's a little bit sore on the right side, so maybe we'll opt to a mini bit and I'll put a line pole on the outside, or maybe even a bit burr, just something she can float along with. I think she'll be a lot more comfortable. And what else? Very, very happy. She trotted her mile in 2:01 flat last quarter and 29-3. Last half in 59 flat, and I really couldn't steer her. Usually, if we weren't in a charted situation where it was important for her to qualify today, I could probably check her off that line and keep her moving straight. But I really was just letting her do her work and didn't really want to upset her or interfere with her motion in any way. So I just let her go along and do her work, and she's a fantastic filly. I'm going to tell you what, you guys in Illinois, it's going to take a good horse to beat Not an Angel if she stays sound and put together and healthy all summer. She's a really, really good filly. The other filly, Ivanka, she only won a mile in 2:4. She's solid now. We got the hobbles back off her. Health-wise, she's probably 3 or 4 weeks behind Not an Angel. So the good news is, if we can get her to trot in 2:1 in Hawthorne or 2:2 and stay trotting and solid the way she is, she's going to pick up money and make good money this summer too. I think she'll make a much better filly later in the year. She seems a lot more immature and frail than Not an Angel. Not an Angel's mentally like a steel trap. Like she's dialed in and really figured out her work. And Ivanka's still in that dopey kind of teenager mode where she doesn't really know if she wants to do her work or not. But she's trots nice. Flawless today. Jonathan Drury went with her. First time he ever sat behind her. He said she did everything right. She got a little tired late in the mile and get on the right line. I think I know what that is. That right stifle is a little immature. We'll probably put some polyglycan in her right stifle. Do her knees with polyglycan. I wish I had the right up at polyglycan. I say it a lot. It's I guess a hybrid mix between adequate and acid. I'm sure I'm not totally correct, but that's my understanding of it. So it's good for the joints. It can be a little pricey sometimes, but tuning these fillies up that are now qualified and ready to go to Illinois, I think is probably smart. So we'll touch them up a little bit before we send them out to Angie on Sunday. And also holding steady. And people said, oh, you know, he finished 6th. Let's be clear. These were the first 3 2-year-olds to qualify in Canada, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm right. 2 fillies look good, did their work well. Now, keep in mind, it's May 28th. I was almost embarrassed to enter these horses in to qualify. Our babies aren't going to qualify for 2 weeks. But the Illinois program starts a month ahead of Ontario, so it's only realistic to think that they would qualify a little bit before, even though it's not ideal or perfect. That's the way it worked out. So, holding steady, went a mile 58.3 last half in 57 seconds flat. Now, we have him hung up at the farm where he runs in a little bit because he's such a big bugger. We have him hung up with a roller burn and Murphy blind on the inside. Well, he was running away from both of them today at Mohawk. Running away from both of them at Mohawk today. So, he was good in the turns, and we come out of the turns and he'd run out. If you watch the qualifier, he's on the left line, finishing up his mile and going down the backstretch, which is good. Just means that the gear we had, he was running away. He didn't need it. So we'll probably just switch to a little pole, maybe a line pole, or a floating pole, if you will, line pole we call it, on the outside loose, and I think he'll be fine. I'm going to go out and drive those horses in their first starts. Really excited to get behind them and get them going in Illinois. These are some nice horses, and I think that a little unfair to Ivanka. I think she was overshadowed a little bit by the other two, but 2-4 for that filly is kind of exactly where we wanted her to be. I said I wanted to go in 2-2 or 2-3. Had she finished up her mile a little better, she would have, but that goes back to that mentally strong attitude. They kind of got away on her and kind of broke her confidence, but she's going to have to toughen up, and I think getting her in a different scenario where she's in with other 2-year-olds, her being smarter now and a little more educated, I believe will be a feather in her cap moving forward. So the old adage of trotters, keep them trotting, usually make money, goes good because Not an Angel is pretty sure on her feet again right now. So she'll be going out also to Angie. All 3 of them be leaving on Sunday for their stakes start June 15th. I'm assuming Holding Steady June 15th, Not an Angel, and Ivanka June 17th. I'll be out in Illinois. Oh, excuse me. I don't know why I'm yawning. I slept all afternoon. For those of you who sent me emails all day, I said to somebody, it was so hot today too, and you know, I was a little, I very rarely get stressed, but when it comes to Lawmaker and schooling these babies and qualifying these babies, because we were in a bit of a time crunch, imagine if they had made a break today. Truck's supposed to leave Sunday. We're going to have to push the truck, qualify them next Monday. Now they're right up against their stake races. What if they make another break? So really took a little bit of a monkey off my back today with the Illinois horses qualifying, and then the stress attributed to getting Lawmaker around, especially coming off a break, being erratic, having an injury up in his back. So I was a little worn out by the time I got back to the barn with the 30-degree weather. And somebody said, "What's on for today? You racing?" And I said, "No, I'm going to go home and I'm going to sleep as long as my body will allow me to." So the Jays game was on at 1:30. I watched, it was 1-1. Boston scored 5 runs in their end of the inning. And I went to sleep. So I don't even know who won the game. I'm assuming Boston did. Don't bother telling me. I don't care. So that's what I did for the rest of the day. So I have a million emails to answer, but I did want to make a little video for everybody. Now with the schoolers, we took 5 schoolers over today. I'm winging it here. Danced on my own. The Butler did it. White Tiger. What's the little guy's name? King of the Ball. And Rock on the Roll. 5 of them behind the gate. So White Tiger, we changed his gear. He's still throwing his head, and he made a little break leaving the gate. Well past the gate, though. I had him on the gate today, which was awesome. So he learned something today. Not very often you'll see babies, and this is just because he's a meathead. You know, you'll see babies kind of goof around and look around, but when they're in the mile, they're supposed to be focused. But he's so talented. He's always been so talented. He can multitask. He can go fast and goof around. So he gets floating his head, which throws his whole body off. So we had a martingale on him. He's still floating his head. We're going to put something a little more rugged to keep his head stationary. and then I think he'll be fine. Aside from that, he was super fast today. Geez, my God, he's a talented horse. So just going to work on getting that last little wrinkle, that little voice out of his head over the next few weeks. So he did make a break, but in a different way than he made one the other day. But we'll get that under control. King of the Ball jumped over a shadow, and I think jumped out of his skin. I looked up, and I saw him. I thought he jumped over shadow, and then later Sylvain Filion went with him. He confirmed he did, and then he was completely out of his mind. I don't know how fast he went middle half, but I know Sylvain was a passenger. For a horse at his size, it's only small. My God, he can move fast. He had them by about, I'm going to say 18 lengths getting into the last turn, and Sylvain said he was crazy. He said it's like you get scared. Like, it's one thing to get scared and jump over a shadow. I've never seen a horse get scared and then take off. And this horse has been controllable since we put the snake cord in his mouth, and he said he was crazy. So good at the gate. Obviously, we got to work on the shadows, but he's smart enough. He went over them the other day. I think he's just goofing around today. So we will work on the shadows, work on a number of things with him, but I'm not too concerned with that running away thing. I haven't seen it before. I think maybe he just got spooked and maybe hit the bike or something and then took off, and we're just going to have to work on that. So I'm not too concerned with that yet. Also, what do we got? Oh, Dance on My Own. Jonathan Drury went with her first time. I said Mario Bergeron liked her. Danny O'Brien liked her. Tell me what you think. He said, few little steps. Mario had told us, I remember in the last video, said put a head pole on her. We just put a line pole on her, and she was still a little bit on the left line. She got popped a big splint, left front and left hind, so that's awesome. So I think we know what's going on. We can fix that. She's muscling through it right now. He said she did put a couple of steps in here and there. He said 2-1, last half 58, looked great. So I was pretty pumped to hear that. Travis Henry went with the Butler, did it 2-4, last half in a minute. He said, as hobbles might be a little tight. I'm going to take Butler up to Grand River and school him on Monday, so a week from today, because New York Stakes, most of them are on half-mile tracks. So we'll get him up to Grand River. I'd like to go a mile 2-2 with him at Grand River, and then he'll be ready to go. First start usually in Buffalo or Batavia, end of June, and he'll be ready to rock. And then Rock on the Roll, goofed around the whole time. There's nothing wrong with this horse, but mentally, he's immature. He's a mental midget, and he's not stupid. He's stubborn, and he refuses to learn right now. And I'm a little torn whether we keep working him or we simply turn him out. He'd want to be one of the first horses I think I ever turned out just because. And he's too well bred. He's got too nice a gait not to wait on. Now, for those of you who just got shivers because of the Redwood Again and McKinnon story of this year, where they had talent, we waited on them, and they fell apart. Every horse is a little bit different, and I try not to judge any horses based, especially on another horse, on the way that they've acted. I'm a little disappointed with what I've seen in Rock on the Roll. I wanted to go a mile 59 today, 2 minutes. I went a mile in like 2:3, come half in a minute. Just not impressive. So, Denis St. Pierre went with him. We were short a couple of drivers today. Louis Philippois had to go with one of Richard Moreau's in the same schooler, so I asked Denny to go. It was just a last minute thing. I wasn't impressed with what I saw. So, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I think maybe we'll take our time with him. I shouldn't say take our time like we're going to not go with him. I'm going to school him a couple more times. If I don't like what I see, then I think we'll have a frank conversation and decide whether we're going to turn him out, continue on, race him in the fair circuit in the grassroots divisions in Ohio, or sell him. So I'm not leaning in any one direction of the three just yet. These are babies, and sometimes they take a little time. But I expected more today from Rock on the Roll that I did not see. So, not the end of the world. He's sound. He's quite content to do his work. And we have lots of options with this colt. So, we're going to continue to work through that. So, that was today in a nutshell. I sent you guys out a big video yesterday, a little one the day before. I'll send this one out tonight. I'll get Curtis to post it. Long and the short of it is, very successful day. Lawmaker qualified good. I'm a little concerned with the time crunch leading up to the good times, but there is time there. You know, it's tight, but there is time there. Canali Handler raced poorly last night. He's coming back to Canada. We're going to try and get him squared away. Cruising in Style, I believe I've talked to Andrew. I've talked to a number of the owners. I got to talk to them again tomorrow. My gut feeling is you'll probably see him in the first elimination of the Good Times. If it turns out he doesn't make the final, which is possible, if it turns out he doesn't make the final, then we'll head towards the Tioga New York Sire Stakes with him. So there was no choice. We weren't going to race him in Buffalo anyway. So we're looking at Good Times elimination, either final or New York Sires after that. Now, it's nothing to sneeze at. It's like a $2,500 entry fee for the Good Times. But having said that, this is a horse that we have high expectations for. He is now officially on Lasix in the States and in Canada. That was a bit of a fiasco, and I do apologize for that. You know, a lot of people are asking, well, Andrew should have done this or Andrew should have done that. Anthony should have done that. I should have known the rule in New York, and the horse should have raced here once before he left. So that rests solely on me, no one else. He'll be coming back to Kevin next week. We'll race him in the Good Times, I assume, the New York Sires. Now, I know there was some concerns from some of our clients saying, why don't we just race him in an overnight in the States? Well, that's fine. I don't own any of Cruising in Style anymore, but I can tell you I wouldn't have any interest racing in the States. I mean, he's a good horse. You know, if we're only going to race favorites going for good money, then racing's going to be kind of boring, isn't it? I mean, can I tell you he won't be 30-1 and finish 7th? No. I can tell you it might be 30-1 and win. I mean, those things are always possible. This horse is no slouch. He's not a pig. Trotted his first start this year, 53-3 over Vernon. That's a tall order. That's a good mile. So for me, stay the course. You know, stay the course. I think Good Times first elimination, Tioga shortly after that. But there are some clients that own significant portions. Terry DeVossen's father owned a third of the colt. They bred him. I think I'll talk to him tonight or tomorrow. But my thinking is we'll probably go Good Times and then Tioga. Or Good Times and Good Times. That will be up to Cruising in Style. So, those are the things going on. Then you factor in the babies qualifying. Got that off my shoulder, that monkey off my back, and got that done. And then we got the schoolers in. You know, for those of you out there saying, oh, White Tiger, just relax. Relax. A long time before stake races start. You get over a month. Just take your time. We'll get him squared away. It's a minor hiccup. Very fast colt. Really quick on his feet. Just got to get him to focus the whole mile. There's many ways to do that. We'll get it going. Don't worry. Anyway, that's a scoop for Monday morning. Now, don't get spoiled. I'm not giving you daily reports on via video of how the horses did. But today was a special day for me, for you, for the stable. The official start of our 2-year-old qualifying campaign. Officially got Lawmaker back to the races. And got some horses going in the right direction. So, tomorrow's going to be another heat wave, I believe. I'm not racing until Thursday, I don't think. I'm really liking this. You know, finishing up the barn, getting a nap in the afternoon. Feeling fresh so I can write stories and emails and speak to you at 9:30 at night. But it's been a great day. So, for everybody out there, things are looking good. We're going to have some more horses over in schooling on Friday. We have a lot of horses lined up that are all dialed in and ready to qualify. That's going to take place a week from Friday, I believe, for some. I sent you out a very rough estimate. Somebody said, oh, well, you're not qualifying Oso Pine early enough because he's got the Ohio Sires. Relax, okay. Yeah, he can qualify on the 22nd and race in Ohio. But from what I've seen of Oso Pine the last 3 weeks, he's got bigger fish to fry than the Ohio Sires. So we'll talk about more of this throughout the week and in the weekend video. But for now, very happy, very refreshed, had a good nap this afternoon, very happy with what took place today, and I'll finish getting all those emails out tonight. Take care.